I met a guy at work. He's pretty cool. I think I made a friend at my new job.
Uh-oh.
His name's Drew Peterson, and he's
Oh
a
boy.
sergeant.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
great. So, being the good wife that I am, we socialized with Drew
Oh God.
and his wife. His
Which
wife and I
wife?
are pregnant at the same. It was the one that he killed in the. Yeah, it was the one he killed in the bathtub.
Oh,
Allegedly killed in the
that was
bathtub.
the third wife, I think, is the one that he
Yeah,
killed in the
but
bathtub.
yes,
Yeah.
the third wife.
Yeah.
So, and he was as big of a scumbag then
Oh God.
as he was fairly quickly after that. I got, not because of Drew Peterson, but I got divorced.
Okay.
And then that's when the whole Stacy disappears.
Yep.
Stacy's from Naperville, Illinois. That's his.
Welcome to the Cops and Riders podcast. Your host, Sergeant Patrick O'Donnell, worked the streets in one of the nation's largest police departments for over 25 years. Ride along with O'Donnell and his expert guests as they help you navigate the oftentimes confusing and misunderstood world of law enforcement. O'Donnell and his guests on this show do not represent any law enforcement agency. The content of this show is not meant to be legal advice. You think you need a lawyer? You probably do.
Hey, Cops and Writers, thanks for being here with us today for another episode of the Cops and Writers podcast. I'm Patrick O'Donnell, and I'll be your host for today's show. This show is listener supported, so thanks to all of you who keep the show going. I would especially like to thank those of you who are patrons of the show. Your generosity helps pay for the software, equipment, and my time producing this show. Yes, you too can become a patron for less than a cup of coffee or a pint of Guinness. Just go over to patreon.com/Cops and Writers. Welcome, everyone, to the conclusion of my interview with Naperville Police Department retired police sergeant and now spokesperson for the National Police Association, Betsy Brantner Smith. Last week, we learned about Betsy's journey from growing up in a small town on a farm to making it to a big city police department and all the unthinkable harassment and bullying she endured from within her own agency. This week, we learned about her work as an undercover cop involved in high-stakes takedowns in and around the Chicagoland area. When she walked away from that work, she went back to her agency and promoted to sergeant, and the rest of her incredible 29 years in law enforcement. We even talk about a certain serial killer cop with whom she was forced to be partners with and briefly interacted with socially. Please enjoy this sometimes shocking, fascinating, and genuine interview with Betsy Brantner Smith.
Now, again, I was just barely off probation.
Wow. Okay.
And
you barely know how to be a cop.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. But he was like, I'm gonna. Obviously became a good friend.
Yeah.
And his daughter became a cop. I mentored her
wow.
into becoming
Okay.
a phenomenal police officer. But he said, we're going to get you away from this hot mess for now until, we can figure all this out. And so, yeah. And that, that was a real turning point in my career. I got mentored by some awesome folks. And I very quickly got sent to a countywide task force. Then I got sent to a statewide task force because I had an inexplicable talent to buy drugs. and yeah. So rest is history.
Were there any other females on the Naperville Police Department?
There were the one that had gotten fired. There were two more there, but they had both got injured, both quit, into their, before they retired. But they both gotten injured. One actually became a manager with our city. Terrific. The other woman, they're both friends of mine. One's a really good friend. She mentored me.
Okay.
But they both kind of found niches.
Oh, okay.
Where you could kind of get people to leave you alone.
Okay.
And that, I had a big mouth. So, and I spoke up and, again, I was not insubordinate, but
right.
I was smart and I was talented. I'm going to just, I was taught not to brag, but I was a talented police officer. And
this was what, 1983, 1984?
Yeah, I became, it was Yeah. Yeah. 1982, 83, 83.
Okay.
And then I went to this task force, became a detective. Then at 85, I went to the task force. And so I was gone for 4 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we got new, things changed, and we had this influx of new recruits, and I was out of their hair.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting national awards, and I'm, the director of the state police and the sheriff in the county is calling my chief, going, man, this girl's the dope buying son of a bitch, and so they're like, oh yeah, Betsy,
We love her.
man, we love her.
Betsy's the best.
Yeah, we taught her all that stuff. They didn't teach me a thing about being undercover or any of that, but all of a sudden, I go from being the goat to being the golden girl.
Oh, is
And
that funny?
it was extraordinary.
So
Interesting times.
just to back up a little bit, I like to back up every now and then, but what's the equipment hanging on your belt when you're a brand new cop in Palatine, Illinois?
At Naperville, Illinois.
I keep on saying Palatine.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
why.
a tiny little town. No. So I had a Smith & Wesson Model 59 handgun. By the way, a Model 59 with a double stack magazine. I have the hands of a third grade child. And that gun, by the way, after I was writing for Police One, I did a bunch of research on it. The Navy SEALs rejected it because it was too difficult to handle. So my chief bought 100 of them, and made us carry them. And so anyway, that I had a nightstick, a police radio that doubled as a weapon because it was like, that it was ginormous. Handcuffs and a couple magazines.
Wow. So
and I had SAP gloves.
You had SAP gloves? Wow. For the kids at home who don't know what that is, why don't you explain what those are?
It's a leather glove that the knuckles and the fingers and the palm have lead in them. And they encouraged us to, I'm guessing we didn't have a policy, but some guys carried SAP, some people had SAP gloves. I actually never used mine because they were too big. I couldn't handle my firearm with SAP gloves on. So but I did have them.
Those SAPs in the old days, the uniform pants had like a little pocket for your SAP.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And then we carried a riot stick, a riot helmet.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But that was it.
Wow.
Which is good because I had like a 23-inch waist. I didn't have room for anything more.
Didn't. See, that's the thing. It's like every day I see like cops with more stuff on their person. I'm like, you're gonna run out of room. You're gonna run out of room.
I've done a lot of writing on that, where you really have to set up a gun belt for function, not how much crap can we put on it,
and that's what it's boiled down to. I mean, I know, and this is off topic, and I'm not a fan of the exterior vests at all.
Yeah,
because now you have cops trying to be Navy SEALs. You're not a freaking Navy SEAL.
But see, when you're a cop my size, you can only carry so many things. And we've had 3 police officers in this country murdered because they had too much on their gun belt, and their collapsible baton was behind their firearm without enough keeper room, and they couldn't rock. And with those rock out holsters that they used to have, they couldn't get out their guns. They got killed.
Oh God. Oh, that's horrible. But yeah, it's gotten kind of silly, I think, but that's another topic for another day.
It's a whole So
in your career, you went to detectives, and then you went to a task force. Which departments were you task forced with, and what was your geography? Where were you working?
So the first 2 years was all of DuPage County, part of Will County, and then we did work into Cook County. And then the second 2 years, we formed a new. They had something in Illinois called the Metropolitan Enforcement Group Task Force, that the state police ran. So then I'm in multiple different counties and going in different cities. And obviously, you didn't. Again, I'm the only female.
Okay.
So I got loaned out a lot. So I worked in 3 different states. I did a lot of work with the DEA. I did a lot of work in Chicago. because the DEA in Chicago did not have a female that could go undercover.
Oh,
they were all surveillance based. So
wow.
I could go in anywhere and buy drugs from anyone, from 10th grade math class to discotheques and everything in between. I was buying dope, including from dirty cops.
Wow. Now, did you have to get deputized as like a sheriff's deputy in that area, so, as far as your jurisdiction, allows? Or how do they work around that?
For the state police task force, we were deputized, if you will, as state troopers. For the sheriff's department task force, they ran it under mutual aid laws.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, with HIDA, I know I work with some guys that were in HIDA.
It's the 80s, baby.
Yeah, it's the
rules
80s.
Were sort of suggestions.
Yeah. They're getting deputized as U.S. Marshals so they could go anywhere.
Yeah. And that, that was an issue because in the county task force, we would be, because we did a lot of like cold buys, we'd go into a bar and meet, some Joe. And he's like, oh yeah, I can sell you an 8-ball of cocaine, follow me. And my partner and I, or just me, get out, go get in our car and follow him. And a lot of times they'd be crossing county lines. So we were going up into 4 counties. Well, actually more than that, we could, from where we were in DuPage County, we could go anywhere from Cook to Kane to Will. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to anybody, but just all the counties surrounding us.
Wow. Yeah. You covered a lot of area then.
Yeah. And it was difficult because then you've got to, I buy an 8-ball of cocaine in Cook County, Illinois. Well, now we've got to get a warrant in Cook County, Illinois. Yeah. And you got to deal with, all that. So that was, I learned, and this is the thing. Again, I learned a lot doing that about prosecution, preparing a case, testimony in court, report writing, things that I would not have learned had I just been a Naperville police officer.
Yeah, what an education.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it is. So what kind of training did they give you to be an undercover officer? What's the craziest thing you saw when you were a cop? My first week on the job, a guy running at me with a butcher knife. He just killed his brother over the last hot dog. That's chapter 1. There are 33 more. Police Stories, The Rookie Years, just launched. Available now on Amazon. Search Police Stories, Patrick O'Donnell, or click the link in the show notes. Back to the show.
Not 1 hour of training did I attend.
So they say, hey,
there was
wear jeans and a t-shirt tomorrow at work.
It was, and again, I'm a female. So, there was a whole, and of course I'm working with all men and working for all men. I had the guy that ran our task force was a great mentor. But they weren't prepared, and neither were I for what I was going to face when they dropped me off at a bar. Go in and buy Coke, kid. Okay. I'm from a tiny town in Illinois. And I'll be honest with you, by the time I became a police officer, and even by the time I got to this task force, I'm still equating heroin and marijuana as all the same.
Sure.
Because I was raised that drugs are bad and you should not do drugs.
Sure.
So it's all the same to me. And so I'm going into these just shithead biker nasty bars, just ugh. And with like $500 in my pocket, and that's it. No cell phone, no wire, none of that stuff.
Oh, so none of this is being recorded, any of the buys.
Oh, no. And I would have one guy maybe surveilling me inside, a couple outside, that's it. So I'm going in, they hand, you get the money, you record, you go in, and I'm literally sitting at the bar ordering a beer, do you have any cannabis sativa that I could purchase? I have money.
I would really like a marijuana cigarette, please.
I would like to get high. Please. What do you have, Mr. Bartender?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And so, um, we weren't prepared for, I mean, what do you think's happening? Sure, baby. You know, they'd hand me cocaine used to come in little envelopes and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Are
don't
you
know if
talking
everybody,
powder or are you talking crack?
we're talking, well, powder and crack, but
Yeah.
it was powdered cocaine for the white chick. And so they'd hand you their little, uh, what were those? I don't even remember. We called them something. Anyways, a little envelope
Oh, corner
of Coke,
cuts?
and
Yeah.
you go. They called it something.
Yeah.
That's how I learned the metric system.
Yeah.
But anyway, they send you in, and this guy's like, I'm not going to sell you any, baby, but you can go snort a line, you know. And so, I take the little envelope, run into the bathroom, tap a little into a plastic evidence envelope,
Oh my gosh.
and then, write it all up, stick it in my pocket, give him his cocaine back while I'm doing this. And again, I had never done cocaine. I didn't really know other than what I saw like on TV a little bit.
Right.
So I'd come out, doing this or whatever. And yeah, and hand it back to him. And then I'm like, so I have to try and identify this person. Well, of course, what does he want? He wants to have sex with me.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to have sex with me. And
Oh, you don't have to pay for this, but you'll pay for it in another way.
and this was the thing. And so I had no training in this. So I just, again, I should have been a theater kid, because I started talking about my boyfriend and, oh, my old man will kick my ass if I, do this. And if I don't come home with something, my best line to get people to sell me shit was to tell them, if I don't come home with an 8-ball of cocaine, my old man's gonna kick the shit out of me. And so,
So when did like the bus team come in and arrest this person?
we would do 3 buys and arrest.
Okay.
So we do 3 separate buys, document it all, try and identify them through vehicles, license plates, everything from, I learned I had a very good memory.
Mm.
And I'd say stuff like, are you a Capricorn? You act like a Libra. Are you a Capricorn? Yeah, I'm a Capricorn. Well, you really act like a Libra. I don't believe you're a Capricorn. When's your birthday? I don't believe that's your birthday.
Oh,
show me your
God.
license. When's your
That's
birthday? I don't.
so
I'm an Aries.
funny.
And of course, we had fake driver's licenses and
Right.
fake, all that stuff. But so then, he'd show me his driver's license, and I'd have to memorize that.
Oh,
There was
that's
no
hard.
cell phone. There was no.
Right. It's a dark bar, and and they're not going to let you look at that driver's license for like 15 minutes, and you're going to glance at it. Yeah.
No. So anyway, that was, yeah.
Wow.
But it was fun. It's fun 4 years.
So you're doing that. Yeah, I've got mixed feelings on that. Describing, knowing who you are now, and you describing yourself when you were a little younger, it's like, okay, in police world USA right now, if there's a good-looking woman that's in her like early 20s, they want to pluck her right away and put her in UC work because she doesn't look like a cop. It's like,
and it's frankly, it's dangerous. I'm fortunate that I was very grounded morally.
right.
Because a lot of undercover cops in general, men and women, get they kind of go a little bit to the dark side, or they become alcoholics,
yes.
or there's a lot of that crap going on. I was very grounded. And at the end of those 4 years in the task force, now again, I graduated from buying Coke in bars to buying kilos and stuff. And but after 4 years, I asked to go back to patrol. I asked to go back to the agency because nobody knew me in my agency. We'd had this explosive growth. I would walk in the door to get my paycheck, and people were stopping me at the door. And I was like, I think I need to go back. And there was a sergeant's test coming up, and I thought I should prepare for that. So I actually asked to go back. I could see the danger. I wrote about this later on, about the dangers of staying undercover too long.
Right. I don't think you should be there for an extended period of time. I think if the opportunity is there, you should take it. That's just one. I mean, I believe that, okay, you start as a cop, on the street, learn the job first. That's first and foremost. Learn how to become a cop. And it takes years. I think it's 3 to 4
Oh
years
yeah.
easily before you're like comfortable in your own skin. And I've seen this in my department where it's like, oh, you're a good looking girl. I'm going to take you right out of the academy or right off of field training.
Yeah.
And they're undercover or they're in a specialty unit for like 10 years. Then they take the sergeant's exam. Now they're leading, cops on the street and they have zero clue how to
No,
do
they patrolled for
90%.
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was not ideal. And I saw that.
Okay.
And so I remedied it myself.
That takes a lot of fortitude
It
because
was. People were like, "You're stupid," and I'm like, "No,
no,
I can
that's
I can think
I
down the
think in
line."
the long run, it makes you so much better of a cop
Oh yeah,
if you do that. That makes
yeah,
total sense to me. That's super, super
yeah.
smart. But you're doing this UC work and all that. Can you tell us like one of the most sticky situations you were caught up in as a UC, or otherwise if you wanted to?
Oh sure. I mean, when I was on I think it was the state police task force. We were working with another. Yeah, it was. We were working with another. We were working with a unit in Cook County, and there was a woman that they targeted who was dealing large amounts of cocaine, and she worked for our Secretary of State's office, and that in Illinois,
Oh
that's where
God.
you get your driver's licenses from.
Wow.
So she was a big up. She was in the upper echelons of our Secretary of State's office. If you're
Yeah.
from Illinois, none of this surprises you. And
No, not at all.
and so anyway, we got into her son, her adult son, then we got into her. And I was doing it with a partner, a black guy from this other task force. Now, again, this is 86, 87.
Yeah.
No, 87, 88, something like that. Yeah, 87, 88. And so we were on we were buying a large amount. It was like a couple kilos of cocaine. That was a large amount in Illinois. And what we were going to do was a big buy bus situation. And so as we're in days before the operation, they're setting up. It was going to be a big hoo-ha because it was going to be politically dicey.
Okay.
It was going to make the media. And we were at that time intending to seize like cars and her condo and all this
Oh,
stuff.
sure. That's huge.
We had the IRS involved and the
Okay.
DEA involved. It was a big deal. And so here I am, I'm still this little farm girl. And so they told us a couple days before that they believed that we had been compromised, my partner and I.
Ooh.
That because she worked for we got our fake driver's licenses from the Secretary of State.
Oh,
So we had like our
okay.
whole fake identity was based on these driver's licenses from the state.
Gotcha.
And that she had gotten onto this through some various means. And so they said, we can just arrest her on, what we have. It was a couple 8 balls of coke and stuff like that. And my partner and I sat down and we talked, and we weren't any great friends or anything. We didn't particularly know each other other than these task forces working together. And we said, what do you want to do? And I was like, let's do it. This is going to be a big deal. Let's finish it out. So long story short, we're going to go to her condo, do this deal. We had no wires, but panic buttons that looked like pagers.
Okay.
And, we'd hit our panic button once we got enough of what we needed to get. And the teams would come in. So we go in, and I remember walking down the hallway of this condo, and I remember thinking, I hope that now I'd been undercover for a couple of years by now. I remember thinking, I hope my mom had died. I hope my dad knows to bury me in my uniform. I want to be buried in my uniform because I'd been undercover, not wearing uniform.
Yeah.
And so that was my focus. I was like, I really hope my dad knows to bury me in my uniform.
Holy
so
shit.
we go in, and they immediately grab him and throw him against the wall, and they're taking all his clothes off. They're going to strip him down for wire.
To see if he's wired. Yeah.
And all this stuff. And they're swearing and shouting and punching him. And I'm like, man. And I'm getting ready to hit my panic button. And they, they got guns. I got no gun. I got nothing.
Yeah.
And so I look at this woman who would be about, 10 years older than me or so, maybe 20. I don't know, kind of a maternal looking lady.
Yeah.
And I look right at her and I start crying. And she goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I go, "That son of a bitch, I just found out he's cheating on me and blah, blah, blah." And, and I just told her this whole story. She pulls me into the kitchen and she's a white girl.
She's consoling
black.
you.
And she's consoling me. And she's going, "Is he cheating on you with a black girl?" "Yes. He said white girls aren't good enough, blah, blah, blah." She was Italian.
Yeah.
And she goes, he's kicking me out. I got nothing. I'm broke. Oh, honey. She goes, "We're going to take care of you, that son of a bitch." And I can hear what's happening in there. It ain't good. And so I go, "But the only money I have is this money for our deal."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, we're going to do the deal right now."
She
goes and gets the kilos of coke, gives it to me. She goes, "You're going to go out the back door, honey, and you're going to get on with your life, baby." And all this. "Oh, thank you." I love it. I'm hugging her. I take my cocaine. I hit the panic button.
That is hilarious.
And here's my partner in his underwear going,
getting his ass kicked. Thanks.
And I mean, it was a big damn deal. And but I mean, I had no idea, and I had no idea what to do. So I was like, I'm going to play the woman thing. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So you get out of UC work. Yeah. Eventually you test and you become a sergeant. How long did that take you into your career to become a sergeant?
I became a field training officer after I went back. And then I have to think about this. And then I trained almost for 2 years straight. Because again, with that explosive growth, I had a recruit with me. By my poor last recruit, thank God he was an Army MP, because I was just brain dead by the time I got to him. And a great guy. And anyway, I took the test. So I think I got promoted in 91, I think.
Okay.
And so at that point, we had a lot of women on our agency, there was a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And became a sergeant. I was a patrol sergeant for a few years, and for a couple of years. And I also ran the honor guard and animal control and canine and all that stuff.
Speaking of canines,
I got
that's Clark the canine.
My sweet baby. I know. See, I have 2 Chihuahua mixes.
He's a rescue from Texas.
Yep, that's what I've got 2 desert rats, we call them.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yes.
And I kicked them out because they're pests. But they came to me and they said, "Hey, we want you to take over crime prevention." I'm like, I don't think so. I'm a cop.
Right.
And
you're going to be doing McGruff stuff. Yeah.
I don't want to talk to kids, and I don't want to be the one you got to who signs out the McGruff suit.
Right.
And all that. And we had a big crime prevention unit, but it doesn't say Betsy's police department on that patch.
Yeah, it does not.
So I got, "You will put in for crime prevention," and lo and behold, I got it. And I did that for, I think, 7 years, and I had a staff of 11. It was phenomenal assignment.
Okay. That's a big crime prevention.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And, because again, we were exploding, community policing, million schools, all this stuff. And we had the DARE program and all that. We had a crib to death. We're running the senior stuff and the DARE stuff and the preschool stuff and safety town and all that. But in the summers, we have a big entertainment district. And in the summers, we patrolled that on bikes.
Oh, you were a bike cop.
So yeah, I ran our crowd control bike team, all that stuff, because we would have the reclaim the streets people, the anarchists would come every summer and all that. And so so I did that. So it was phenomenal. And I mean, it was kind of like we got all our aggression in the summer, arresting people, and then we'd go back and be the nice police for the school year.
No, I was looking at some of your stuff. Were you in charge of the canine unit, or you were a sergeant in the canine?
I was. I ran the unit. I did not have. I had a personal dog. I did not have a work dog, but I ran the unit.
I was just gonna say that's like a dream job. That's a dream come true, is to be a canine sergeant or to have a.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I loved it. It was, and I got to go to all the training with my guys, and really, I'm a big dog person. I always have been.
Me too.
And so just immersing myself in understanding the training and um getting into writing policy and doing national stuff, so by this point I have a parallel career as a national. I've got a show on the Law Enforcement Television Network. I'm I'm a national level trainer, and then I become a national level author. All as I have two separate careers
Oh,
almost.
wow. Okay. So, and I have to say that sergeant is the best rank on
Oh
any
God,
police
yeah. Yeah,
department.
I took the lieutenant's test, turned it down.
Oh, I'm sure they're pleased
And
with that.
oh yeah, gosh, it was really weird because I turned down lieutenant and I became a patrol sergeant again, which they said was a complete coincidence.
Yes, of course it is. So you were on a reality show for a little while. Tell us about your reality show.
So during the end of my police career, my last 6 years, I'm a patrol sergeant, and at this time, I am I'm writing for every police website there is, every magazine. I'm on the advisory board for Police Marksman magazine. And then I get hired by Caliber Press in the Street Survival Seminar. I'm the only woman to ever teach the Street Survival Seminar.
Yeah.
All that I'm doing all these national level things. I'm at every trade show. I'm a very sought after speaker, all that. And so I happened to go on a stay with me here on a cruise for work. And it was called DT at
work
Sea.
Cruise. Okay.
A work cruise. It was a Caribbean cruise out of Florida. Defensive Tactics at Sea.
Okay.
So this is in the 2000s. So it is cheaper to put a bunch of cops on a cruise ship in the fall and train them than it is to put them up at a hotel.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And so this very innovative guy named Roy Bedard, he's a real famous use force expert witness now, Dr. Roy Bedard. He hires my husband, who's a guy named Dave Smith, JD Buck Savage, and I to come and teach on this cruise. And so on cruises at that time, you had one table for dinner, and it was all your people. You ate dinner with the same people every night on this cruise. I am seated at this table next to a guy named Sheriff John Bonnell. So Google him, kids. He's he was like the first big TV sheriff, and he was part of Cops and all, the TV show Cops, all that stuff. And so I get to talking to him. Well, he takes a liking to me and our son who was with us on the cruise. So when he gets back home, he approaches a TV producer and says, "You should do a reality show with this woman cop. She seems fun." And again, this is before the women of Broward County and the hair flipping pink handcuffs and all that stuff. This is right before that all takes off. So I get a phone call from Dr. Bedard, and then he brings in a guy named Adam Reed. If you look up Adam Reed, he's got all these famous reality TV shows. Adam comes, meets with us, and he says, we want you to be a subject of a reality TV show. Well, I'm a city cop. So you've got to go to the city council. You've got to go to legal.
Right. Oh yeah. There's going to be all kinds of hurdles for that.
And quite frankly, I'm already working about 80 hours a week as a trainer and an author and a patrol sergeant. And said, and plus I'm like, I'm a patrol sergeant. I'm boring. You don't want to follow me around. Trust me. Let's make it an ensemble show. We had like 20 women at Naperville at the time. And, so we went through, it took months and months and months to go through all the legal hoo-ha. And then they kind of did, I guess, what you would call auditions.
Okay.
To see, so we put out a thing, who wants to do this reality show and all this stuff. And it was fascinating. And, so, some women signed up for it. And then there were women who, you know, I mean, because again, of course, I have all the receipts. I keep everything. There were a couple of women on the department who wrote these emails to everyone in the department. This is a travesty. I would never do this. This is untoward. It's unprofessional. I don't want to be involved in this. The minute we start filming the show, the emails start flying. Sergeant Smith kept me out of the reality show. She doesn't like me. There was more mean girl shit in this situation than you ever saw in 7th grade. The show, so we filmed the show in 2008. I think it came out in 2009.
Yeah.
And it was on A&E. Was it A&E?
What was it called? What was it called?
Oh, sorry, Female Forces.
Female Forces. It's still out there? Can you find it?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
It's still on Biography and A&E. It's all over Europe. It's in the Middle East. I get insane emails.
Would you be my wife?
Boy. Yeah, I mean, I still get great feedback. And because I'm a long-haired redheaded sergeant during it. So I don't look like I look now. But yeah, so anyway, so it was a huge hit. And we started this whole trend. They wanted to come back for season 2. And I said, no, I'm gonna retire. And so there was never a season 2.
Okay.
But it was an interesting experience.
I am gonna have to look that up. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny.
So you worked with wife killer Drew Peterson.
I did.
Oh boy, tell us a little bit about that. I know we're running long here, but
I know you'll have to edit some of this out. So back on the first count on the task force, in the task force days, on the county task force, we would work with other counties. We worked with Will County, and in Will County, Illinois, task force had a Bolingbrook police officer named Drew Peterson, and he was undercover. And so we met with them, you know, him and his boss and our boss and all that, and we were going to do some joint work together because Naperville was partially in Will County, and then plus when you're doing undercover work, it's good to bring in fresh faces.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, so we went in, we met with Peterson and his boss, and Peterson would not talk to me directly. He would turn to my partner and say, tell her this, tell her that. I'm sitting right next to my partner.
Oh my.
And you know, and my boss was like, you know, okay, this isn't going to play. So my boss addressed that with his boss. So we went into Will County. We did a couple of cocaine deals at some kind of, you know, very seedy bars in Joliet, Illinois.
Oh, yuck. Yeah.
And so after we did this one case, we were sitting around, I don't know, like in a parking lot or somewhere. And Drew Peterson says to my partner, he goes, hey, let's put a white t-shirt on her and take her to so-and-so's bar. They got a wet t-shirt contest on, and she and her tits will be able to buy Coke all night long.
Oh my God.
So I just sit there, and, you know, my partner's like, all right, see you later. And we go, and my partner went right to our boss, and he sat him down and he said, we're not working with him or them, Will County, anymore while Drew Peterson is there. This guy is off the rails. He's, you know, disrespectful. And it wasn't just the sexist crap, but he was one of those rogue, you know, cops always pushing the envelope. And that was kind of it. It's all we heard of him. But wait, there's more.
Okay.
A few years later, I'm married to a Chicago cop. And he wants to get, we don't want to live in Chicago because we're going to have a kid.
Yeah.
So he gets a job on the Bolingbrook Police Department, and he comes home one night and he goes, oh, you know, I think I met a guy at work. He's pretty cool. You know, I think I made a friend at my new job.
Uh-oh.
His name's Drew Peterson, and he's a sergeant.
Oh, boy.
Great. So being the good wife that I am, we socialized with Drew.
Oh, God.
And his wife His
Which
wife
wife?
and I are pregnant at the same. It was the one
Because
that
Drew
he
had
killed
4
in,
wives. Yeah.
yeah, it was the one he killed in the bathtub,
Oh,
allegedly killed in the
that was
bathtub.
the third wife, I think, is the one that he
Yeah.
killed in the bathtub. Yeah.
Yes, the third wife.
Yeah.
So, and he was as big of a scumbag then
Oh God.
as he was, and so I fairly quickly after that, I got, not because of Drew Peterson, but I got divorced.
Okay.
And then that's when Stacy disappears.
Yep.
Stacy's from Naperville, Illinois. That's his
Yeah,
fourth wife.
that's the fourth wife that's like 19 years old that he was dating
Right.
when she was 17.
She was 17 when he started dating her.
Yeah.
She was managing a motel in Bolingbrook. And so it was we all, especially my old partner and I, when that whole thing started, we were like, oh, he did it.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Yeah.
knew.
Oh yeah.
And one last bit of irony that I just, not a lot of people don't know, but I'll tell you, is the state police unit that was running that initial investigation of Stacy disappearing and all that, when they took it away from the Bolingbrook Police Department, and the Illinois State Police rightfully got involved. And the chief, by the way, of Bolingbrook PD, when all that was going on, was he's a friend of mine. He was a former Naperville cop.
Okay.
He went in and really professionalized things and all that. And but anyway, the guy running the investigation was my first ex-husband. And so a lot of connections there to Drew Peterson.
Yeah.
When he went to prison, I was pretty happy girl.
Yeah, you betcha. Wow. So, let's switch gears a little bit here. You're very heavily involved in training. You were, heavily involved in it. Where did that passion come from?
I love education. I was raised by an educator.
Okay.
And I saw, as you've now heard, that how important training is. And I initially got involved as a field training officer, but then I got recruited to teach on the statewide level in Illinois through they call it mobile training units,
okay.
MTUs, but it's our post. And I got involved in that and started writing curriculum. Like, maybe we could have some training to teach young cops how to be undercover and not get killed.
Yeah, that's important.
Maybe we could have I with a guy from another police department, we started career survival classes, career survival for women in law enforcement, career survival for minorities in law enforcement, not from a DEI perspective, but from here's some practical stuff you can do to not get, harassed and not get, and that was wildly successful and went national.
Okay.
And then, so that's how, but I just really always had a passion for education. And then again, I end up working for the Law Enforcement Television Network, which is, training based television, then for police1.com training.
Yeah.
And I married a guy, Dave Smith, one of the most well-known police trainers in this country, and started working with Dave Smith and Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman and all these things, learning about curriculum and how your brain works. I have, one of my specialties is brain function and brain differences and retention of information, stuff like that. And, I've got, honestly, I've got 2 master's degrees in my head, but I never formalized it. I have, if I could show you my office, there's books everywhere.
Yeah.
And, I just really, I developed that because the better trained you are, the safer you are.
It's amazing to me how, police budgets are always under scrutiny, because they're usually one of the biggest drains on a city budget is, police and fire. And education. Those are the top 3 usually. And when there's budget cuts in a police department, usually the first thing to go is training.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then then something bad happens, something goes sideways, and they're raising their hands. It's like, how could this have happened?
Yeah, why didn't you know better?
How weird is that? It's like, okay, but
See, and that was the thing. I was so fortunate that one of the things I learned fairly early on was take some vacation time and pay for your own training. So I did a lot of that. And then as I became that trainer that was going to every national level and ultimately international conference. I mean, I've trained in the Middle East, Tbilisi, Georgia, the Balkans. I mean, you name it,
Yeah.
and Canada, all that. But I one of the deals I would make as a trainer, I'm like, I'll knock X amount of money off my speaking fee if you let me attend X amount of hours of
Okay.
training
That
and
makes sense.
and
Yeah.
you certify it.
Yeah.
It's got to be certified. And so that, that was something I learned and did that till the day I retired.
Wow. So what do you see cops doing right and or wrong today in policing today?
Well, obviously they do a lot of things right. I really see a love for country and a love for community from a lot of cops right now. But again, now I'm going to sound like I'm 1,000 years old, but there's too many out of shape cops.
Yeah.
There's too much whining and complaining. There's too much, oh, it's not fair, and we need to have things like 30 by 30 because we need more women, because women are being held down. They're not holding down women that are good at the job, in my opinion. And not everyone, male or female, uh, is going to be good at law enforcement or is even attracted to it.
Right.
And let's just be honest, who's attracted to law enforcement more? Men.
Yes.
And so, it's that I don't know that we're ever going to get past 15 or 20% women, because I don't think more than 15 or 20% of women are interested in and or capable of being police officers. And so I don't like the DEI stuff, and I see too much of it. But again, the cops in general, I think are doing the ones that are working hard at it are doing a good job. I'm wildly disappointed in police leadership around this nation. Chiefs more than sheriffs. I see there's such spineless, weak leadership. We just had a police chief of a major agency crying on national television.
Oh my Lord.
Talking to you, Chief Day, but they've become too political and they've just become too weak. They won't stand up for their officers. Body cameras have changed a lot. The political atmosphere has changed a lot. So anybody who does go out and do this job and does it well, God bless you.
Yes.
Because it's a really tough job.
It is. So what can we do to, it's always a pendulum. You're a hero one year and then you're, the
Right.
devil the next, 5-second clip on, YouTube or TikTok or whatever. What can we do to attract the best and brightest in choosing a career in law enforcement?
Well, we've got to get rid of any of the DEI standards. We have got to, as a profession, we must take the best and brightest. And that includes academic standards, physical standards, mental health standards. We've got to take a hard look at our testing process, our training process, but we have got to take the best of the best, and then we have to nurture them. And to anybody who's watching or listening to this, it all starts with who you vote for. So if you are a citizen or you're a cop or a retired cop or whatever, and you're thinking, oh, I wish my police department was better. I wish they do this. I wish they do that. Stop worrying about who's president and worry about who's sitting on your city council and who's on your sheriff's merit board and who's your mayor. Take a look at who controls your police department, who controls your state police. It's your governor. Pay attention to who your governor is. All of that. This, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you. For the first 20 years of my career, I didn't know the politics of anybody sitting next to me in roll call. We just didn't talk about it. Wasn't a big deal. And so this should not be a political issue, but it is.
Right.
So if you want a good police department, you have to have good political leadership who are going to hire or you got to vote in a good sheriff. And Yeah.
Okay. So what's your advice to anybody that wants to go into law enforcement?
Oh my God, do it. Do it. But here's the thing. Like I talked about, I just took the first test of any department that was hiring. If you're a young person and you want to be a police officer, or you're already a cop somewhere and you want to go to a different department, you're like a nurse was 10 years ago. You can pick your place.
Wow.
So research, what kind of cop do I want to be? For example, like being a DEA agent sounded really cool to me when I was a young cop, but then I thought, what do I want to be doing when I'm 45?
Right.
So think 10 or 15 years or 20 years down the line. And what do you want to do? Where do you want to police? What's your passion? And then go do it. I never had the same day twice in 29 years. I know you're the same. And you know what? Most of our friends can't say that.
No, they were chained behind desks. They were, doing whatever, and they'd bitch and complain about how horrible their jobs were, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yes, I had some really bad days. I had some bad years. I had some,
yes.
It's going to happen, but I had the time of my life.
Yes.
I had so much fun. I was yesterday, who was I talking to? Oh, my brother. I was telling him the stories of all the ball busting that was going on in a police department, all the shenanigans, it
was a blast.
Oh my God. And I was like, I'm getting paid for this. This is so cool. It's like, it's the best kept secret, but everybody's like, this is the worst time ever to be a cop, blah, blah. I remember when I was brand new, the old timers, there were Vietnam vets, were the old time cops.
Same
and
here.
They're like, why do you want to be a cop, kid?
Yeah.
This is the worst time in the world to be a cop. I got that speech from so many guys.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
This is the worst our department's ever been. This is the worst time to be a cop. Go be a firefighter. Go do this. Go do that. And I'm just like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not listening to you. So, yeah, it is the best job ever. So you wrote a book, The 10 Code, 10 Law Enforcement.
I didn't write that book. The National Police Association
Oh,
did.
I thought you wrote it.
Yeah, no, I wrote the forward. No, I didn't write that book. But okay. I am the face behind it,
Okay.
And so what it is it takes exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Is all those lessons learned by us as cops. It's how to apply it to real life.
Okay.
And it's called, I've got to look it up to get the whole, because it's kind of a long title, but it's called The 10 Code.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, just from a quick personal standpoint, everything that I learned as a cop when I got diagnosed with cancer in late 2020, we literally took those lessons of survival and perseverance and following the rules and all those things.
Sure.
And we, when I say we, my husband and I applied that to fighting cancer. And everything from how you survive a gun battle and all those different things, and just everything from how you organize things, all of that, everything in that book, you can apply it to things like that. It's a pretty extraordinary read.
Well, speaking of the National Police Association, what is your role with them? The National
I'm their
Police
spokesman.
Okay.
And you can go to nationalpolice.org and see what we do. We are a law enforcement. We're a charity, law enforcement advocacy group. And I was one of their writers, and they called me in July of 2020. Go back to what was happening then.
Yeah.
The city was burning down. And they said, hey, we know you're good on camera. Can you handle this Zoom thing for us? I didn't even know what Zoom was.
You're right.
And can you go talk to this ABC station about this issue?
Yeah.
And it was an issue about, a George Floyd. It was a cop killer memorial in San Jose, California.
Oh.
And can you talk about it? What that means to the cops when they have to see Assata Shakur who murdered multiple police officers. She just died recently. And her real name's Jasmine.
Was that the one that went to Cuba
Desmond.
or something like that?
Yeah, she went to Obama. Let
Yeah.
her go to Cuba, and
Oh my God.
but anyway, so yeah, I spoke, and then I got another request and another request, another request. And finally they hired, like, you want to be our spokesman? I'm like, sure. And then all of a sudden Fox News is calling, and Newsmax and all that stuff. And, I'm like just everywhere. And then I start getting death threats, and Antifa's after me, and I'm a racist, and Black Lives Matter hates me. And so here, that was 5.5 years ago.
So the National Police Association, what do they do?
They are basically an advocacy group for law enforcement and for citizens. So example, we're the first group that sued to get the Nashville Covenant school shooters manifesto released by the FBI. We're the group that sued the Biden administration to release all the correspondence in and around the Biden administration about the Border Patrol agent whipping case, all of those things. So we file FOIA requests and litigation.
Okay.
We file friend of the court briefs, amicus briefs in a myriad of cases in front of the Supreme Court. Who cases that might negatively impact law enforcement. We will file a friend of the court brief. We have a legislation advocacy arm. We will help smaller departments get body armor for their canine or start an explorer post. We have a therapy dog that we support. Canine Luna, look her up. She's amazing. All of that. So so my role is I'm the spokesman. I go out in the media, and in addition to the fact that I can obviously talk, I understand how to do media, and I am uncancelable. That is probably my greatest asset. I have I'm a police trainer. I own the company. You believe me, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and so many other groups and political entities tried to get me fired. They would call the chief of my agency. You got to fire that racist bitch. And he just laughed and go, she hasn't worked here in a long time, but thanks for calling. And, same thing. I would literally answer the phone for my own training company. You got to fire that racist bitch. What racist bitch? And there's not a word I've ever uttered that's racist, but because I properly labeled Black Lives Matter as a scam, which now we all know that's true.
Yes.
So it's a great job. Go to nationalpolice.org, see what we do. Follow me on Twitter at SGT Betsy Smith, and follow them at their X handle is at Nat Police Assoc.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's wrap this up. What's next for you, and where can people find out more about you and your work?
So I'm kind of involved in local politics here in Southern Arizona. And but I'm gonna keep doing this job as long as people want to hear from Tactical Grandma about law enforcement issues. I'm still doing training a little bit, but my husband and I are desperately trying to retire. I am a cancer survivor, so we're actually, what's next for us, a 2-week cruise, because we really need to kind of try and have some fun.
Well, you deserve it. Yeah.
But I love getting on social media. I love getting on X and really talking about issues of the day and things like that. And I love advocating for our profession, because not a lot of people have the ability like I do to be able to tell the truth about the wonderful men and women of law enforcement in this country.
Do you have your own website, or just to find you as nationalpolice.org?
I pulled the plug on my own website, which was frightening. It was scary. But it's nationalpolice.org. You can find me on there, and then you can find me on LinkedIn and
on
X,
the socials and all that. Yeah.
All the socials.
All right. Cool beans. This has been a fantastic talk, Betsy. I love talking to you. I'll definitely have you back on the show. I just had so much fun, and I think we just kind of scratched the surface, really.
I know. There's so much more we can talk about, so we'll do it again.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for joining me for the conclusion of my interview with retired police sergeant and spokesperson for the National Police Association, Betsy Brantner Smith. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with Betsy, and she is welcome back anytime on my show. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Cops and Writers podcast. If you haven't done so yet, could you take a minute and rate and review this show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts? If you have already, thank you. As always, thank you for all of your support, and, of course, let's be careful out there.